guys, Chef Luis Sanchez here, and welcome to A Seat at My Table. So we're in the middle of holiday season, right? And a lot of times you get asked to bring something to the party. Or you're having people over and you want them to eat something before the main dish, right? So guacamole is just the quintessential Southern California kind of dip. And I'm going to show you how to make a new version that's going to just elevate your whole experience of guacamole. And I learned this when I lived in a little city called Sayulita. That's very close to Puerto Vallarta, and that's where I'm wearing this shirt, and I'll tell you all about that later. But let's go to the kitchen so I can show you how to make this Sayulita guacamole. Alright, let's make some cool guacamole. So guacamole, as you know, is a classic dip that has avocados, tomatoes, onions. So anytime you make anything like that, that's pretty simple. You don't want to be like looking for your avocados and then doing that and mashing them and then go, oh, where's the onion? So you want to have something called mise en place, which is French for I know what I'm doing. No, it's French for I want to have everything in place. So mise en place, everything in place. So your ingredients that you're going to make your guacamole with should be all here with you. And that's preparation. So preparation makes your cooking easier. Otherwise, you're going to be confused. You're going to be like, oh my God, running around, and you don't want to do that. So guacamole, very simple to make. Avocados, onions, tomatoes, cilantro, some sort of spice, salt. Our version, which I call the Sayulita version, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a city, a beach town in Mexico, about 45 minutes away from Puerto Vallarta. I was lucky enough to live there with my children for about 3 months, a couple of years ago. And when we got there, we ordered guacamole and a bunch of beers. Not for the kids, but a bunch of beers for me. And the guacamole had this like crunchy things in it. And I'm like, what is this? And I looked into it and it was cucumber. And then it also had shrimp, because there's shrimp in everything there. There's so much shrimp there. So I loved it. I thought it was cool. It was elevated. It just gave it another freshness, seafoodness to it that I love. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. And I hope people from Sayulita, hashtag Sayulita, I hope I do it. I'm doing it from the heart, and I hope it tastes kind of like what I tasted back then. So we have Mexican white shrimp here. What we're going to do is we're going to marinate the shrimp, and then we're going to grill it. And grilling doesn't mean you have to go out there in 20-degree weather and try to turn your grill on and everything. So when I say grilling, I use that term kind of loosely. So I'm referring to this cool little pan, which is just kind of like, this one happens to be like a cast iron pan with grill marks. So I don't want you to go get charcoal or set up the gas tank or anything. So just use this, especially for something like this when we're going to grill, 16, 20 shrimp. So it's not a big deal to use this. You're still going to get those awesome grill marks. So let's do it that way. We're going to do a quick marinade with the shrimp. Shrimp is delicate, so you don't want to marinate it for 24, 48 hours. So we're going to do it with a little bit of olive oil, some lime juice, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of cumin. Cumin goes a long way, so a little pinch will work. So we're going to start with that. We have Mexican white shrimp that have been deveined by me and peeled. But I left this here. This is the tail, and the tail helps you manipulate them. So you can grab them by the tail and kind of position them in your pan. So shrimp right here. We're going to add the lime. How much lime juice? About, I don't know, maybe a lime for this amount of shrimp. So once again, I keep saying this over and over in every episode. Don't worry too much. Don't get too tied down with, oh my God, it said 2 tablespoons. I only have 1 tablespoon. I'd rather you just cook and get that going. So we have the lime juice, or the juice of 1 lime. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil. This is the good olive oil. And I'm talking about maybe 2 tablespoons. And then we're going to add the cumin. Remember, it goes a long way. So just a little bit of cumin. And then we're going to add some salt, which I have back in here. And we're going to add a good pinch of salt. I love keeping my salt out in a container that I can just stick my fingers in there and grab them. The only time in which I don't do that and I grab a spoon is if I'm dealing with raw meats. If my hands have like raw chicken or beef or whatever, I'm not going to go from the chicken to the salt and from the salt to the chicken, because then I have to throw away all my salt because it would be contaminated. So now we have the shrimp. We're going to quickly marinate. I'm just mixing them up a little bit in this. And this is a good time to use a Ziploc bag. So I have a Ziploc bag here. And we're going to put our shrimp in there. And all those juices that we just created with the lime juice and the salt and the cumin. And then you want to start closing it. And I'm going to show you a little trick. Close it about 2/3, 3/4 of the way, and then get all the air out. You know those vacuum seal machines that they sell for, you know, a couple $100? That's what kind of you're doing here for free. So we're getting all the around without damaging the shrimp, and then you're gonna seal it. So it sort of creates that kind of thing. And then you want to move the shrimp around on this marinade, and that will speed up the process. But remember, this is a quick marinade, so we're just gonna let this sit in the fridge for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then when we come back, our world is gonna be on top of the fire. We're gonna go ahead and grill this shrimp, and then start our guacamole. Alright, Ziploc bag time. Our shrimp's been sitting here for about 45 minutes. With the magic of television or YouTube vision, we have sped the process for you so you don't have to sit there for 45 minutes and watch shrimp marinate. So we have our grill right here, and then I'm going to turn on the fire, and then I'm going to transfer our shrimp into a bowl. And then this bag that has all the shrimp juices we're going to toss. And then another trick I want to show you is this grill is awesome. And if I put a little bit of oil so that the shrimp doesn't stick, remember our shrimp has a little bit of oil, but it might need a little bit more. And you don't want to go in there with oil because the oil is going to go in between the grill marks. So you want to do the same thing that you would do in an outdoor grill. We're going to put a little bit of oil in our hand. No, not in our hand. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Put it in a little piece of paper towel. And you're just kind of rubbing it on your grill marks. And just do this when it's not too hot, unless you're more comfortable with heat, which I am a little bit because of what I do for a living. And then we're searing the shrimp. This is not going to be a long process. To me, there's nothing worse than spending all this money on awesome, delicate seafood and overcooking it, because shrimp will get stringy, where it's like a really bad piece of chicken breast that's been baking for 3 to 4 hours. So now, how do you know if something's hot? A few techniques, a few tricks. You hear whether it's hot or not. So if you put it down and you tap it down and you don't hear anything, so it's probably not right. So you're going to wait a little bit longer. Also, another technique is to put your hand on top of the grill like this, without touching it, of course. And if you can hold it there for more than 5 seconds, then it's probably not hot enough. So now I can still do it. So I'm going to wait a little bit, and then you can go back and try the other thing. I can start to hear it, so that's good. So we're going to give it another, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds. Another tool that you're going to need right now is going to be a pair of tongs, which I have on my utensil container, which we talked about before, which is awesome because everything is right there next to you. And only keep the ones that you're going to use. You know, you don't want to keep a bunch of stuff there that you don't use, otherwise it just gets cluttery and you don't ever use the other stuff. So why have it? So now that our grill is talking to us, we're going to spread the shrimp out. And what I mean by that is making sure that the shrimp, or each shrimp, is touching the grill. If you have too many shrimp, then you got to do this in batches, which means you got to do this one more time. So we'll see. What happens is if you fill it up too much, or if you do 2 layers, then your shrimp become more like shrimp stew than grilled shrimp, and you don't really want that. I think we have a good number, so that we might be able to do it all in one level. So we'll see. Remember, this shrimp has the lime juice, a little bit of olive oil, and then the pinch of cumin. So right now we're almost full, and I have one more shrimp here, and I don't really want to do another batch for just one shrimp, so we're going to make some room in there for it. And then, believe it or not, at this point, I bet that the first shrimp I put in there is almost ready to be flipped. So remember, I started from this end and worked my way like reading a book. So remember that, because when you flip things, you want to start with the one that went down first. So it still needs a little more time. Also, kind of logically, I guess, the edges are always going to be a little bit hotter than the middle, because heat is hitting, you know, the flames kind of go up and hit that area first. So you want to keep an eye on those first. And we're almost there, not quite there. You want to get a little bit of a char. And the next step to this dish is going to be obviously to flip them, finish cooking them so that they're seared, and then we're going to cool them down a little bit, remove the tails, and chop it up into, you know, each shrimp is going to be about 4 or 5 pieces, and I'll show you that when we come back. And then we're going to incorporate the cooled down chopped grilled shrimp into our guacamole. So I think we are almost there to flip. I'm going to give it one more second. Sometimes you try to rush things and then it doesn't develop the flavor that you need. So remember, when you're cooking anything, it's called caramelization, which means it's the sugars of the food are creating this awesome flavorful crust, and that's what you want. That's what you cook. That's why you cook with high fire. That's why you sear. So you know, it's well worth it spending another minute at this part of the cooking process and developing that flavor than just rushing it. So I can start seeing some good coloring happening on some of this shrimp. So I'm going to start flipping them. That one needs a little bit more time. You see how I went back and I put it back. So some of them are starting to be ready. Some of them are not. What's your favorite seafood? I love shrimp. I like lobster. I like crab meat. I am surprised at how expensive crab is nowadays. And we are making soon a dish with crab meat that's going to be really cool. I love fish. Scallops I like. They're not my favorite. And I wish they were, because whenever people love scallops, they're like so passionate about them. And I'm just kind of like, maybe I need better recipes for scallops. So if you know any good recipes for scallops that you want to share, maybe I'll give it a try at home, and then I can make a video from it if you guys want me to do that too. Alright, I think at this point every shrimp in here is ready to be flipped. I'm getting some good coloring, some good caramelization, and we're going to finish doing this for the next couple of seconds, and then I'll see you back in the kitchen with my cooked grilled shrimp, and I'll show you how to remove the little tails and how I would like to chop it up, and then we'll assemble our guacamole Sayulita style. See you guys when we go back to that side of the kitchen. Welcome back to a seat at my table. Who would have thought I would ever say that? Anyway, so we're doing shrimp, we're doing guacamole, and we're putting them all together. So this is the shrimp that we grilled, Mexican white shrimp. We marinated them quickly, and now we let them cool for a little bit, and now we're going to cut them up, chop them up so we can mix them in the guacamole. I just wanted to show you quickly. Once it's cooked, you just pinch the tail, and then they sort of come out perfectly like that. So we're going to do that with all of them as I keep talking and telling you a story about Sayulita. So this t-shirt I have on is became really quickly my best favorite place to eat when I was there, and they specialized in pastor tacos, which are marinated pork, and it's a cool little system where they layer the meat with pineapple and onions, and it's actually Arabic in its origin, and it's really cool. But the guy was awesome. They did this tricks where they cut the pineapple behind their backs. My kids loved it. I loved it, and I was so happy with the service and the food that I had to get their t-shirt. And I remember it's called Tacos El Iban. And I remember I asked the taco guy, to sign the back of my shirt, and he was like, he didn't really understand why. But to me, I guess it's sort of like when you ask your favorite athlete to sign your jersey. It's kind of the same thing for me, because that guy put a lot of love into what he did, and I don't even think he realized how hospitable he was and how happy he made me and the family. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. So as I was telling you the story, we finished the shrimp. I'm getting rid of the tails, and I'm going to chop up the shrimp. Remember, we're going to add the shrimp room temperature into the guacamole, so you don't want them to be hot. And we're just going to do a rough chop, which means, you know, nothing too delicate. We're going to cut them up into big chunks. You want people to be able to tell you that that's awesome shrimp. You don't want it to be cut so small that you're like, what was that? It was kind of tasty. You know, you want it to know that it's shrimp. And we're cutting them a little bit bigger than everything else because it's sort of the star of this dish. And when it comes to cutting, I just kind of put two, I stack two, and then I cut them together. And then you turn them over, and I'm not doing this exactly. There's nobody coming to your house with measuring tape and telling you, well, that's sort of in between a medium dice and a small dice, and you're gonna get a ticket from somebody. So it's whatever it is, and it's whatever you like. So our shrimp is ready. We're gonna transfer this back into the plate that it was on, and then we're gonna start making guacamole. So I'm gonna put my bowl here. This is the bowl in which I'm going to mash our avocados. I think 4 to 5 avocados is good. This dip would be great for probably up to 8 people if it's made as a, not an entree. You don't want guacamole as an entree, but if you have more food coming out, 8 people, even more, will go and enjoy this perfectly fine. So avocados, these are Hass avocados. They're the wrinkly kind. They're readily available, especially in California. So you want to feel, and you want them to be a little bit soft, but not too mushy. Sometimes if they're too mushy, you cut them open and they're black. I don't think those are going to be black. Even though they are black on the outside, that does not mean they're going to be black on the inside. So we're going to hold them in our hand firmly, hold our knife firmly, and we're going to go in. And sometimes the end of your knife can work to make a little hole and get you started. And then you're going to fill the pit, and then you're going to keep turning. Keep turning. Don't turn where you actually hold the blade. You're just going to keep turning to match your first or the point in which you entered. And then you're going to hold with one hand and twist with the other. And then you're going to get an avocado. This one has a larger pit. We're going to put them all on the side. We're going to do the same thing for all of them. So this is a normal speed. One you hold, the other one you turn. Then one more time, because we have 5 avocados for this recipe. There we go. And the last one. This one feels a little more mushy. So let's hope that it's still good on the inside. We'll see. Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. All right, cool. So we have all of them here. What I would do right now is, since you have the knife with the avocado, I would start removing the pits. So in order to remove them, use that tail, butt of the knife, or back end of the knife, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure there's a professional name. If you know it, please add it to the comments and I will express myself properly next time. So you want to hit it and then turn. And then release with your thumb. And then we're going to do the same thing with all of them. The pit of the avocado, there's this big thing where the pit actually keeps the avocado from getting black. Or not the avocado, but the guacamole from getting black. And I guess the avocado too, if it's on the fridge. I'm not sure. I like it, and I like to think it's true. And I do it sometimes, but this guacamole goes out into the table and it's over so fast that I don't even think we need to worry about that. I am getting rid of the pits now. And then the other thing we want to do is we're going to add our avocados in here. And we do that with a spoon. So a spoon helps us, and we get as close to the skin or the pit of the peel of the avocado as we can. If you catch any black thing like I did there, just get rid of it then. We're going to do the same thing for the next one. You want them to be a little bit soft, like I said. Not mushy, but a little bit soft. My daughter, who is 4, loves avocado. Doesn't like guacamole. I think it's because of the onion or the spice. So sometimes, and doesn't like it mush too. Like I made avocado toast for her before, and no thank you. She just eats it like chunky, like just cut into little squares. As long as she eats it, I guess it's good. And my son is the other way. He does not like avocado, but he loves guacamole, especially this one, because I think it's because it's very citrusy and a little bit spicy, and that's more of his personality. He's kind of a spicy kind of boy. So there we go. We got a couple more to go. And then we're going to finish this dish. So at this point, once you have your avocados, the one thing that actually, to me, keeps your guacamole or your avocado from being dark is a lime juice or something acidic. So since the recipe calls for limes, we're going to go ahead and squeeze them in there now. And that's going to prevent our guac or guacamole from getting dark. So always try to work as cleanly as possible. That means... to me, that means I always have a towel, or in this case, some paper towels next to me. So without mashing it, I'm going to squeeze my lime juice. I believe it calls for 2 or 3 limes. That all depends on how juicy the lime is. This today are awesome, so I might go with 2 and then check it out and taste it. Remember, there's a little bit of lime in the shrimp marinade that's going to carry on the flavor of lime into your guacamole. So we have 2. 3. You see how I'm sort of pouring it over the avocado, so you want to make sure that all the avocado is kind of covered with lime juice to flavor it and also to prevent it from going black. All right, so we're done with that. Once more, you want to declutter your kitchen, so we have all our limes out of the way. And then with our avocado already there, the one thing I wanted to show you, because everything else I chopped up, I don't want to bore you with me chopping onions or anything else. So I have this is a jalapeno. You can use a serrano. You don't have to use this. It depends on what your level of spiciness is. Jalapenos are somewhere in the middle of the, what is that thing called? Scones or something. It's Sconeville, I think it's something that sounds like it. But it's really, it's so crazy that people get so into the millions. It just, at that point, it doesn't really taste like anything. And I'm sure that there's ghost peppers that are hotter than others. So what you want to do is kind of get a little bit of the jalapeno and taste it. Normally the outside of the jalapeno is not as spicy as the inside, so that's kind of what I wanted to show you, and I hope that you can see this. And I'm just kind of using the outside of the jalapeno in this case, and I'm getting rid of the seeds and getting rid of the veins. Unless you like it a little more spicy. Like I like it a little more spicy, and since I am able to talk and chew on this jalapeno, that tells you that it's not as spicy as I was hoping for. So I'm going to throw in some of the seeds and the veins in there. So once you have it like this, we're just going to small dice it. We're making little sticks of jalapeno. And then we're going to come back and we're going to dice that up. All right. Okay. All right. So since I don't have a container for the jalapeno now, we can go ahead and, actually no, I have a container here. I don't want to throw it in the guacamole yet because we have to mash it. I forgot that we have not mashed the guacamole or the avocado yet. So I guess it's not guacamole yet until we mash it. And then we can start referring to it as guacamole. So how do you mash it? This is my good friend. I use it for mashed potatoes, for sweet potato mash. You can use the back of a spoon, the back of a fork, whatever you want. So I'm just going to go in there. I like it chunky, but I don't like it too chunky. So we're doing the avocados. Remember, this is, I believe, 5 avocados is what I put in here. So far we have avocados and we have lime juice, right? So once we are here, we're gonna keep mixing this up. If we see any big chunks, we can break them up with a spatula or the back of a spoon. So I'm gonna get a big spoon, and by big spoon I just mean like a larger than normal soup spoon. I'm gonna go through my avocado, make sure it's chopped the way I like it. I see a couple of big chunks, and you see I am breaking them with a spoon. At this point, we're gonna add our salt, a good amount of salt because avocados do need salt, and then we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. So we have the tomato. Adding the tomato. We're gonna add the onion. So far, tomato, onion. I'm gonna add not all of it. I added about half a cup of onion at the most. We're gonna mix that in. We are going to add a little bit of the cumin that we had left. That's his personal taste. And I'm gonna add Tajin, which is this awesome dry lime chili flavor. I'm gonna add a little bit of that in there. And then for some unusual ingredients, well, let's finish with the usual. The jalapeno that we just chopped up goes in there. And then the cilantro that normally goes in there, goes in there. Maybe it's a little more cilantro than most because cilantro I love. I don't get and I don't associate with people that don't like cilantro. I stopped doing that about 2 years ago. I went to some meetings and I was told to just let go, and that didn't work, so I just don't speak to them anymore. Cucumber, English cucumber. This is kind of a different one, but this is part of what Sayulita guacamole is all about, so we're adding that in there. And the last thing we're going to add is the one thing that we started with this, which is the shrimp. This is the grilled shrimp that we made, and then we're going to go ahead and mix this all in. And one thing, I can't remember who it was, but it was a chef from Napa Valley, and I saw him making guacamole, and he added olive oil to it. And I thought it was kind of cool, because sometimes it could be a little bit dry, and I love that flavor, so I always finish it with a little bit of olive oil. It is what it is. Some people might say, well, you're kind of ruining it. I like the taste of it, so I'm going to keep rolling with it. I see a couple of pieces of avocado that are still a little bit chunky, but this is not a very smooth, as you can see, guacamole. This is a much more loose guacamole than you would normally see. I'm gonna go ahead and taste. It's awesome. It just needs a little more salt. I'm gonna mix it up again, and another splash of olive oil. And I think it's done. And for something like this, you put all this time into this one dish, and you want to impress your friends and your family. So we're gonna make it really presentable. So I'm gonna clean up my area a little bit here. And Diana found this in my garage. I just moved, so I don't know where things are. She was here. She's been here for what, 45 minutes, and she knows where everything is already. So we were talking about that on our lunch break today. So we had a break. We had a lunch break today. That's awesome. Anyways, guacamole. Guacamole with shrimp. So we're gonna place it in this cool bowl that Diana found. And oh, this looks good. Hey guys, well that was it. That was my favorite way to make guacamole, which is a Sayulita style. Remember, Sayulita is a place that's about an hour away from Puerto Vallarta. If you ever make it out there, try the guacamole. It's awesome. It's great for parties, and it's refreshing and great. So I would love to see you here next week for another episode of A Seat at My Table, and keep in tune for these awesome recipes that we're making for you. Take care.